Hi, Madeleine, as usual, of Sister Luna Psychic Services. Today we're continuing the YouTube Pagans Challenge. D is for dark magic. Scary. Oh my goodness. Evil witch, green skin, warts, blood magic, hexes, curses. Oh my god, so frightening. No. Although I am aware, of course, some witches or pagans of different backgrounds do like to do hexes and curses on people. Sure, and they might identify as practicing dark magic. But I really feel that it's important to point out there is another aspect to dark magic that is not negative. It's not like bad in any way at all. And in fact, magic and the dark side of the world is the majority of what I do. And I do that with compassion. I don't do it with malice. When a client comes to see me and I read for them, I'm usually, and even if this isn't what the client was expecting or not even what I intended to do, it just seems that it usually goes the way of I'm going to go and find that piece that this person hid, their darkest bit of themselves, that little like thing that's just full of shame and fear, and it's been hiding in the back closet of your soul and just been growing and festering and affecting your life in little ways that you didn't trace back to that. It's nefarious. So that type of thing is often called shadow work. But in the way that it's happened for me, for the most part, in regard to facilitating that for others, is that I just had a tarot booth, a tent. I did very well with it when I lived in British Columbia, and people would come in and they would just say, I don't know what I want a reading on. And then it would suddenly get really, really intense as I'm pulling these cards that are just really hitting home for this person. A lot of people cried. You need to have Kleenex on hand but we need to go to that place. We need to go into those dark places and give people the opportunity to feel those feelings, to make them know they're in a safe space where they can let go and they can express that. With tarot, I can identify, or close to identifying, exactly what that shadow piece is. And then with Reiki, I can go in with the Hansha Shinen and I can focus on specifically healing that aspect. So some people would call that healing karma. I usually think of it as kind of like a closet or a basement where you stuff things that you don't want to look at. So I have a lot of things. This is almost like meant to be a bit funny because I have so many things here that are like scary. Oh my gosh, look, I have a bone. I found this bone and this incredible horn. Look at it. I found this ages ago. It's always been a centerpiece, or almost always been a centerpiece on my altar. I have it up on my window right now. Just moved it over here for the video. And in my grimoire, I have multiple entries where I talk about the dark side of magic and about working with the Crone, different aspects of the lunar cycle. I'm just gonna try and find one here. And here's a full moon entry. But if we're talking about dark magic, I'm gonna say that we want new moon. Oh, here's one on the Crone. she's also, like, to people outside of the pagan community, the crone is a scary, hideous old woman, and like some people or versions or whatever media outlets would say that this witch is old and ugly because she's evil, and it's like coming out of her skin, and that's just terrible in so many different ways. First of all, you're just writing a woman off completely because she's old and calling her ugly. It's like, oh, she must be evil. And that's terrible. And also just putting that face on what a witch is. Most pagans that almost every person of an alternate spiritual path that I've ever met have been caring, compassionate people. Some of them might have been fooling themselves a little bit and how enlightened they thought they were. But it's easy for that to happen. Ego comes back in the back door and bites you in the ass. But they all wanted to do good. They were trying to be good people, you know? And so just for the assumption that the crone is evil just upsets me very much. The crone is your grandma. Like, she's wise, she cares, and she will protect you. Okay, so here's what I wrote in here about the crone. I am a druid, student of nature. I am a glow, sister to the moon. My mother is earth, my father is flame. My voice is air as I call out your name, crone. Keeper of wisdom, bearer of light, fear is forgotten on this winter's night. And I repeated this a few times. And there's an alteration at the end. Fear is forgiven and fear is forgotten. So I have two versions of that. And I think that's a good way to help yourself get ready to step into that dark place and do some shadow work. Teal Scott is, she's a woman who's helped me a lot along my spiritual journey, and she has a really great video on shadow work. But since we're pagans, we can work with deities that are intended to help us with that kind of thing. I'm gonna see if I can find the new moon. Oh, here it is. New moon. I dreamt of a pack of wolves. I was afraid as I watched them racing along the frozen hills. My dog was with them. He was being bitten and whimpering. I called to him and he ran toward me. The wolves followed with a black wolf in lead. When I faced him, I was not afraid. Then, look, the wolf wears a collar. I grasped it and pulled up, and the wolf sat like a trained pup. When you face your shadow, the fear is gone. Take control. We can't have light without dark. Words would be meaningless if there were no spaces between them. Songs wouldn't make any sense if there were no silent moments between notes. All the instruments just playing constantly at once just sound like noise. And the darkness is where you go to heal. It's where you go to transform into the womb, you know, to the cauldron, inside, into the darkness. So what I'm getting at, what my point is that we should not be afraid of darkness, and we should not think of dark magic as being a bad thing. It's good, it's necessary, and it's very healing. Too much exposure to light hurts you. If you keep the lights on at night, it can disrupt your sleep patterns. If you don't have a dark room when you're sleeping, and if it like hurts your eyes, You can heal your eyes by just giving them more darkness. We just don't have enough of that. We're afraid of it. We think it's bad. Okay, just one more entry from the grimoire. Space and form. The feminine, the goddess, the womb, the vessel, space. This is the space between objects, between thoughts, between particles. The feminine is perceived as non-action. It is complete space. The masculine, the god, the member, the tool, the form. This is the way we act on the world, the thoughts we think, the particles of matter. Dark magic. It's not necessarily evil. The dark side of everything is an essential part of it. It's not a part of it that needs to be feared, and it's not a part of it that should be avoided. Right now, we are in the dark half of the year. It's winter. In Canada, where I live, in Calgary, in Alberta, right next to the Rocky Mountains, it's cold. It's really cold, and there's so much snow that some towns have essentially shut down. You can't drive on the roads. You can't really do anything. You can hardly leave your house. And so that all sounds bad, I guess, kind of, but it's bringing me to a conversation I had with a friend wherein I said, I don't hate winter. I'm kind of glad that winter's here, you know, I like it. And she said to me, oh yeah, absolutely, I agree. Winter is such a restorative time. I couldn't get by without it. And I thought, you know what, yeah, Zoe, you made a really good point. Winter is essential. It's essential for us to have a time to like relax and turn inward a little bit, do some knitting, you know? And so being that it's winter now and you're watching this video and you're gonna have lots of supportive links in the description. There's lots of other great YouTubers who have other videos on shadow work, and we can help you, and what a great time to do that. Thanks for listening. It means a lot to me. Every time I get a new subscriber, it just fires me up to make another video. So thank you. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again. Blessed be.